The conversation sweeping Bulls Nation is what's going on with Josh Giddy. Is his recent play sustainable? Is it not? What's his future? What's the contract? Me and Pat are to discuss all of that. Plus, we're going to take an extra little angle on it. Should Josh Giddy be factored in to the type of player that the Bulls look to draft in the draft? All that, plus our top 3 prospects and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over on ESPN 1000.
Stroke out on that one.
I was like, Bulls or Bears, whatever. I'm Hayes, host creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Patrick.
Starting the show?
Yeah, we got to get it out the way. Start off the show. Josh Giddy, bro. First of all, I just want to talk. I just want for a little while us to step back from like actual basketball analysis and do an analysis, analyze Bulls fans. Y'all have made this more toxic than a situation than the Josh Giddy, Justin Fields conversation. That's really what this has turned into, bro. It is way more toxic. And I think it's more toxic as well because there are people bringing race into it. I don't know what that got to do with this contract. I have no idea what that has anything to do with, but this has turned into a crazy situation, Pat. How you feeling, brother?
I love how somebody literally, like you said, somebody brought race into it. I saw a tweet. Somebody was like, bro, it's no way you paying a white dude $30 million. And I was like, I don't know if you've looked around at Luka and Nikola Jokic or
Sabonis, Alfred Sengun.
Like, I don't know if you've seen the NBA right now, but the Euros are hooping. Like, no, man, listen, the Josh Giddy conversation has been, it's weird because I think people, what people want to do is not believe what we're seeing right now is the real Josh Giddy, when realistically, right, things that have changed have allowed him to turn into this player. Now, can he remain consistent on this, or is this just a hot month? That's yet to be seen, right? And I think you got to play out the rest of this season to get there. But I'll tell you this right now, removing Zach LaVine from the team, he started to attack the basket more. He started an uptick in going at smaller guards, and his offense started to go in the right direction. Getting Nikola Vucevic off the floor, all of a sudden this dude gives a rat's you know what about defense and is playing the passing lanes like one of the best players out there. And say what you want, and here's the funny thing about this one. You can't even argue this. Like, to not feel like he's a shooter at this point, or that he is turned into a point guard that can shoot. I don't know if I say shooter just yet, but to say he's not a point guard that can shoot, that just means you ain't watching. Because he's been shooting the 3-ball well all season. Like, that didn't just start in this last week. So I do find it kind of funny, the discourse around Giddey. And listen, you know what it is when so many people draw their line in the sand and they refuse to ever cross it because they feel like that makes them look like they're faking or something like that. When new information is provided, you pivot. You can believe one thing at one point, that thing can change, and you can be back in on the other side. It doesn't mean that you're flip-flopping on your opinion. It means that
you're smart. Smart people look at new information and say, there's new information. Let me actually see how this now changes the information that I had before. Stupid people say, this is my opinion, and regardless of what changes, I have to hold to this opinion. Yes. Or, my God, I can't change my opinion. No, that's stupid. Yeah. So, like, it's just this whole Josh Giddy, like I said, I didn't think 2 summers in a row, bro. Like, we're gonna have between Bears and Bulls fans. No, not everybody's fans of both teams, but it's like, we just went through the damn Caleb Williams, Justin Fields conversation, and now it's not even Josh Giddy versus anybody. It's just Josh Giddy as a person. Like he's so galvanizing for a team. It's like, come on, man, y'all get your life together, fam.
Yeah, there's a lot of beef out here with Giddey, man. But listen, at the end of the day, he's probably going to get the contract. Like I said, he's counting his way. I said $30 million. Yeah, I mean, like he's
I
walking
don't think
in.
he's going to get that much, but we'll see. He's going to get money though. He's not getting anything less than $22 million.
AK Johnson or AK's office like Ben Johnson is right now. Yeah, I mean, I said $30 million.
The number is the number. But I said I wanted to take a different spin on this. We're going to get into our draft prospects, but as its own conversation. If the Bulls, and this is assuming that the Bulls are going to re-sign him, I think we both are on the side that the Bulls are going to re-sign Josh Giddy, whether that means letting him meet with other teams to set the value or AK negotiating against himself and probably losing whatever it is there. How much does Josh Giddy's skill set do you think should factor into who we look to draft in this year's draft?
I think unless you end up top 5, it should be heavily in it, right? There's some really good prospects later on in this draft that you could say maybe Josh Giddy accentuates their game and makes them even better, right? And we'll talk about some of the draft prospects on the list. But when you start to look at some of the big men later on in this draft, the only problem is that they're big men. Yeah, I mean, like literally the only reason they're further down in the draft is because they're like, oh, there's a guard here, there's a forward here. It's not because they don't have the talent to be one of those top guys. So if you're top 5, you take best player available. That no matter what, there are what I would call some elite level talents at the top of this draft. I think when you look at a Cooper Flagg, when you look at an Asa Newell, KJ's kind of let me down a little bit over the last stretch, but I think there's a lot going on in Illinois. I think he is still one of those elite level scorers, especially if you just give him the ball and say, do what you do. But as you start to get past that, right, when you get to the 9s, the 10, it weirdly enough, the NBA and NFL drafts almost mimic each other, right, where there's this depth of really good players that I think are going to come out of this draft from the 10th overall pick. Oddly enough, both teams may end up around there, but the 9th or 10th overall pick probably down to 22 through 25. Like there's some really good pieces there. So when you look at Giddey, I think that if you feel that way, you can go positional value and still get a great piece, knowing that it seems like you've got your point guard of the future locked up.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to in no way, and I need people to understand there's a difference in this conversation. I'm not saying that they should build everything around Josh Giddy. I'm saying that they should look at the skill set and the things that Josh Giddy does bring and look and say, all right, how does Derrick Queen, for example, how does Kaman Malo, how do these guys pair with it? But I agree with you. Like, there's a certain part in the draft. Like, I would usually agree with you, like top 5, right? I would even say there's a case to be made in the top 10, which the Bulls still making, that there's such good talent that you go best talent available regardless of position. But there is that usual point where it's like, okay, you pass this point in the draft, and now you can start looking at best talent available at the position of need, whereas above that, it's like just best talent available at all. Whoever you see that's going to turn into a superstar. But I think when you look at like the things that are matched with Josh Giddy's skill set, I think are just good for basketball overall when where you're going. If you want a mobile big that can run the floor, that can protect the rim, that can do some shooting and can attack, I don't really think of a roster where that doesn't fit on. So if that's looking at, right, that fits regardless, even if 3 years you're like, hey, this Josh Giddy experiment didn't quite work the way that we thought it would. That's still a player that can be productive on any type of roster. So the only thing that I think it could hurt the Bulls on is that they say, okay, we need the perfect shooting guard next to Josh Giddy. And they say, hey, he doesn't have to have his own dribble because Josh Giddy can create for him. So let's go find a great catch and shoot player. And then you end up moving off of that. Then maybe you can run into some things with problems with that. But otherwise, I really don't see many formulaic issues with that overall.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, the thing is, right, the reason I say top 5 is because I do have questions on some of the guys after that, right? Duke's got kind of the 2 back-to-back prospects with Kaman and Kaman. You got Trey Jones in there. Trey Jones, I think, is an obvious one, but if you want to go shoot, if the Bulls go shooting guard, I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's just like, stop it. Put the guards down. Put them down. I'm sick of it. Put them down. I think I would lean big. Where you kind of feel some confidence again to me is a name like Derrick Queen. I think that he's one who you kind of just
don't get into your prospect.
We'll talk about it in depth. But my thing is, right, like when you start looking at those names, right, I have questions on those guys as on some of those guys is like, okay, I think this translates. I think this goes to the next level versus some of the main bigs who are in this draft as well, who is like, he big and he's going to be big at the next level. He's still going to be able to do a lot of the things that he does. And like you said, very, very good versatile players in this as far as the big man as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what the future does hold there, man. But I know what the future does hold for us for sure here. And that is a conversation about our favorite draft prospects coming up in this draft. But first, we do got to get into a message from one of our sponsors, and that is FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action, and if you're looking for a bigger pay cut, you can even combine your live bets into same-game parlays. I love using FanDuel live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch three, I never feel like I've missed a chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. This is our reoccurring segment that I am super excited about from now until the end of the season, especially with March Madness just around the corner. We're starting a little bit early, but we're going to start every Friday talking about some of our favorite prospects. It can either be a running board on who your top 3 prospects are, just some players that stood out to you over the last week of college basketball. I'll turn it over to you first, Pat. How you feeling?
Listen, there's a name for me that continues to, and not really rising up the board, but again, I think, kind of the bigs are locked in. But the more I watch Derrick Queen, bro, I just
motor, bro.
I'm just like that. I literally watched. Who did they just play? They just played Michigan State, and I'm not gonna sit here. He had a bad game, right? He shot like maybe 1 for 10. But he never stopped moving. Like I literally was just locked in on him, and I mean like standing on the side, waiting to cut. He's twitching. He's on his toes. He never stops moving. To me, that is something that you cannot undervalue. And there are moments where the shot is off a little bit, but he's so consistent down low, bro. Like he is becoming quickly one of my favorite prospects. Even if the Bulls land, I don't think we'll end up top 5. But if we're 6, 7, or 8, somewhere in there, I would still take a look at Derrick Queen because it's a need that you have. It is a player that I think can give you the scoring ability, can give you some of the defense, and who gives you the energy that I think everyone wants Dalen Terry to be with better play, but he's actually talented.
Why the unnecessary shot for
I'm just saying, bro. Like everybody, why do we want Dalen Terry to be great? Because we look at the energy. We need that energy. He got that energy, but he also can go out there and put 26 on Ohio State's head.
The thing I love about Derrick Queen, and he was going to be on my list too, so it's a great jump off for the conversation, is that I know that he's not an above the rim center, right? And I know it's not that he has negative wingspan. He doesn't. He's 6'10" with I think a 7'1" wingspan, I believe is what it is. Which is it's good enough to get things done in the NBA. Like that's not a problem at all about Derrick Queen. But it's just like the dude just does not stop. When you talk about, especially as the Bulls have moved to a more fast-paced team and less isolation, I don't care where you are. I don't care if Derrick Queen is at the 3-point line. You always have to keep a body for him because he's always moving. He's always in attack mode. I think his footwork, especially at being, 20 years old, is already would step into the NBA with some of the best footwork of a modern big. Yeah. His footwork is crazy. The true low post, back to the basket moves are ridiculous. Like, Derrick Queen is just one of those players that you watch and that sometimes don't even look at the stats, even though his stats are really good. He just puts in work, bro. Yeah. And sometimes you just need players like that. The question, though, is with Derrick Queen is that because the Bulls are going to be in the top 10, I know you already said, like, regardless of where you pick, you would like to see the Bulls go there. It's just that last I saw, I think the highest mock that I saw him in was like 12th or whatever, which if the Bulls end up like 9, 10, that's not too much of a reach. If they end up like 8, 7, it could start being that. But either way, like, I love the kid's motor, man. Just watching him play basketball is special.
Here's what I say, right? And I'm saying it about the NFL draft with all the breakdown that we're doing there. It's only a reach if you miss. It's only a reach if you miss. Why is Patrick Williams? Patrick Williams ain't a reach at 18. He's a reach at 4. That's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like that's really the conversation where you can say, oh, this guy, he might have been reaching. Not to say there's not going to be better players that go after him, or maybe you missed an evaluation on a guy, but it's about what fits for your team. And I'll tell you this, if the Bulls were to take Derrick Queen in, let's say 6, 7, or 8 there, and people are sitting there after talking about, oh, what a reach. You could have got him so much later in the draft. This also ain't the NFL draft. Yeah. You're not trading back, gathering 17 years of picks. That don't really happen in the NBA draft. If that's your guy, that's your guy. If you can find a trade, that's great to trade back and get to that spot to where you can take him where he's supposed to be slated. But if that's your guy, that's your guy. And to me, I think that that's kind of the focus with a lot of the names here. Now, I say all that, and now I'm going to give you a scenario where if the Bulls did want to trade back, I'm going to tell you about a name right now, my guy, that Derrick Queen-ish, but I would say, what if I could give you Adama Sanogo with athleticism and finesse? Give me a Thomas Sorber. You checked any of his game out?
I have a little bit because somebody brought him up. Actually, I have, and I'll say this. I get what you're getting at with the Adama Sanogo with a little bit more athleticism, but
actually a lot more athleticism. I'm not going to lie. Adama Sanogo couldn't move.
No, I think Adama Sanogo, especially like this. I don't know how much of this season Adama you watched, like before the knee injury, because he did lose some weight. Like at the beginning of the season, he actually got a lot more athletic. But I get what you're saying on that. To me, though, if you get that, yeah, you better trade back and you better pick up.
That's a trade
some
back
other
piece.
picks. Yeah, you better pick up some other things. Yeah.
Again, right? It's a trade back piece. It's the wrong pick if you miss on it. But to me, he's one of those players who you could just count on the consistency around the rim. He's not a high flyer. He's more of a rim grazer kind of big, right? But good footwork, like we talked about with Derrick Queen. I think back to the basket game, he's got really efficient. He adds a little bit more of the jump shot ability, though, able to pull it up from the mid range. The 3-point shot is one he's trying to add. I think a game versus, I want to say Providence, he ended up going like 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. He also just doesn't take threes. So it's one of those kind of big man situation where it's like, can he make them? Yeah, if you give him the time. He's got kind of a slow release, but also he just takes like basically 1 a game if he does take them. The only thing that I think that he adds that maybe you're not getting as much from Derrick Queen is this young man can facilitate. This young man at the top of the key is moving the basketball at an elite level. He's giving that. Elite is crazy, right? Elite is Nikola Jokic. He passes like Vooch. And I think that's something that you can't undervalue with what we've seen the Bulls be able to utilize Vooch for down in the paint, right? You kick that thing down there. If it's not there, able to find the guy in the corner, able to find the guy at the top of the key, able to find the man cutting. Just having good vision there, I think that that's something that's also a value that you can't overlook.
Yeah, solid pick there. The next guy I'm going to talk about, though, and the way, and these are 2 players that I'm kind of as a center prospects. There's 3, all 3 of my guys are centers today. Me too. Is Kaman Malik Mawawe, however you say his name. And the way that I look at between him and Derrick Queen is this, right? Kaman has the higher ceiling. Derrick Queen has the higher floor.
Yeah.
I think is the way that you look at it. But I still, when I watch Kaman, and because he is already on the team with two players that, of course, are going to get so much more acclaim and shots and offense for him, the way that he fits in, how efficient he is as well. And the fact that every mock and draft analyst that I say is like, hey, don't let the fact that he's not shooting threes make you think that he can't turn into a decent 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
And not even that is a big thing to me. The most I want from a center is, hey, if the defense starts sagging off of you, can you hit an open three? I don't need my center to be a 3-point shooter. I don't need my center to be freaking what Nikola Vucevic tried to be his first 2 years here. But Kaman is just a guy that, like, I get it. I know it's a cliche. You can't teach size, but when you look at his timing on the block shots, when you look at his rebounding and things like that, I know the numbers for him in college aren't jumping out the gym, but look at the rebound rate. Like, that's the things you have to start looking at with Kaman, because, like I said, he's playing with such really good players, huh?
Look at the efficiency.
Yeah, the efficiency. He's having, I think, literally the most efficient season in college history.
He's shooting 70%.
Yeah.
Now, granted, a lot from the rim. Actually, all from the rim.
Yeah, but he's a big. That's where it's supposed to be.
And that's exactly what I was gonna say. He's a big man. He's supposed to be at the rim. Like, I like the pick there. The only thing that Kaman scares me with, I think, a little bit is, is he benefiting from the focus not being him? Okay, and we've seen that play out, right? Where you get who was it? Not Wiseman. Who's the other one? Wiseman kind of had that as well, but Wiseman was the focus. There was another big, I can't think of his name right now, but everybody was on the team, and it was this great team, and he was kind of getting the beneficiary because everybody was focused everywhere else, and then he got to the league, and 2-3 years, and now he's a bad. No, Bagley was a dog too. I don't know.
Bagley was a dog. Yeah.
Bagley was a dog in college. I don't know why I can't think of who it is, but either way, right? Like, that's the only conversation for me that does concern me, but. Listen, bro, he's 70% from the field. You can't, and he's 7'2". I don't know if you I don't know if you know this or not, but he's not going to shrink heading to the NBA.
No, that's not going to change. Like, we've seen that happen a little bit, because a player that I think VJ Edgecombe's going to shrink some from his college measurements to NBA measurements.
Hey, they definitely be every time you see him, you're just like, nah.
You remember when they listed Ben Gordon as 6'4"?
Fam, listen. No. When they listed Derrick Rose at what they list D Rose at? Wasn't he 6'4"?
He was 6'4" too for a while.
And everybody in Chicago was like, I stood next to him. He's like 6'2.5", 6'3". That 6'4" is crazy. Yeah. That inch matters, is all I'm saying. Hey man, before we get into this final topic, we got to talk about embracing the play-in, my guy, because seems like no matter what we do, Philly will always be worse. Got to give you guys a message from Robin Hood. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on your retirement. The privilege of the very privileged are no longer exclusive with Robinhood Gold. Your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you also get 4% APY on your cash and non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any network. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on an annual IRA contribution, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to 3% match. Requires Robinhood Gold at 5 months for 1 year for your first match. Must keep funds in an IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings. Interest rate claim is based for the FDIC as of November 18, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
All right, Pat, I know we're going to transition into the last topic. Before we get into that, did you have any more prospects that you wanted to bring up? Because I got one
listen, you know who my guy is, bro. Danny Wolf.
Here you go,
Danny Wolf has been a consistent one for me. He's climbing the draft boards a little bit. He's still around the 16 to 18 range, but I think we get a reprieve on missing completely on the 18th overall pick and just not playing him by going out and getting a guy like Danny Wolf. I love the game, 7 feet tall. Here's the other thing about
Are you using ESPN's mock?
Huh?
You using ESPN's mock draft?
No, this is this is actually Tankathon's.
Okay. They got Danny Wolf going 16th on Tankathon?
That's what this one has.
Okay.
I've seen him 16 to 18. That's what I'm saying. Right now, let's see. What's this mock? Danny Wolf is this is just the actual draft. Hold on. That's the lottery simulator.
It looks like they got him going 24th now.
Okay, 24th.
Yeah, he is rising in some of the. I don't go off because ESPN's. That's more like a power ranking than it is an actual mock draft. Them be doing whatever they want to do there. But go ahead.
And they cooked last year though.
No, but see, that's the thing. They closer to the draft. Yes, at this point in the season, is more like a power ranking. After the season ends, then it's an actual mock draft for ESPN.
Either way. I think the thing about all three bigs that I have is that to me they're heavier bigs. These aren't guys that are getting pushed around, but they also have the height to be able to compete with some of the Victor Wembanyama's of the NBA. Right now, he's a little bit different. He's 7'5", so nobody really can compete with him. But a lot of those taller bigs, I think you can kind of look at their game and say, okay, but they're a little more slender. These guys, while still able to move, have a little bit of weight to him. Danny Wolf at 250 right now. He's averaging 15 a game. I think the 3-point shot to me is the thing that stands out the most, shooting at 34% right now in college. I think if you get it, first off, the God, Peter Patton is here. So if you get him with Peter Patton, we can get that thing all the way up to 40% from the field. I love the how confident he is in his 3-point shot. The other thing about Danny Wolf that I think is interesting that all three of the bigs that we mentioned here today are capable of is the defensive side on all of these guys is just pure upside. I mean, you look at Derrick Queen blocking a half a game. Thomas Sober right now is almost 2 blocks a game. Danny Wolf adding a block a game. Danny Wolf adding, I should say, a block and a half a game. Also adding a steal a game. Like, you've got guys who offensively are cooking, but also still get busy on the defensive end. I think Danny Wolf is one of those guys that maybe is a little bit more the most mobile of the three. And so I think that he continues to intrigue me throughout this draft process.
The other guy last guy on my list is Asa Newell. This is a guy that continues to impress me with his passing as a big. Now, he's probably going to be more of a power forward than center at the next level. His offensive rebounds are crazy. His blocks per minute are crazy and ridiculous. He doesn't turn the ball over very much at all. And he's just a solid offensive player. Now, he's 19. He's going to be 20 the majority of his rookie season. This is a guy that I really like on the board. The question is that I think that will put into question, where do you see your long-term position for Modest Bucilis? Because if Asa is going to be more of a power forward than the center, I think right now he's about 210 pounds. So that, to me, points to power forward. But then again, you never know. So that's the question there. But Asa Newell is a guy that I keep looking out for, man. And every time I watch him play basketball, I'm just like, this kid just got it. He just has it. So
Asa Newell got game. I think Asa Newell to me is kind of like, weirdly enough, almost like not modest, but like modest vibes. Like I kind of get the athleticism, the continuous motor. I think there's a ton of upside offensively for him as well. I wouldn't mind Asa Newell at all.
Yeah. At that point, then you're theoretically your small forward and power forward are locked in for the future. Yeah. And
anything that moves Modest, I ain't gonna lie to you. I like Modest so much more as small forward than I do as power forward.
I do. I think people just look at his height and his wingspan and they're like power forward. But to me, it's like I don't want Modest to have to put on. Like, I think that's where P. Will. If you look at how athletic P. Will looked rookie year till now, I think it's because he transformed his body to be more of a power forward. Like, he's added like 25 pounds since he's drafted. I don't know if I want Modest to gain that much weight. Right. So
no, I think I want Modest to remain slender. Be the scorer. Be the if you put on anything, man. I mean, maybe 10 pounds of muscle. That's really all I'm looking for. I don't need much more out of Modest. And you would think that way would help P. Will actually be able to dunk on somebody, but
No, because no, there's nothing helps. A trampoline wouldn't help P. Will dunk on somebody more. But with that said, last topic of the day, Pat, and this is not a one that we need to spend a whole lot of time on. It's just that everybody under the sound of my voice embrace the play-in. I don't want to hear no more complaining about the play-in. And it's not because the Bulls literally are probably going to make the play-in with less than 30 wins. They're still going to lose a lot of games. But we're making the play-in.
We're still on pace for what I said. I said they were going to win 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
we've won 1. And been competitive in 4. We've won 1. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad, bro. I mean, Brooklyn has lost 2. The Sixers have lost 9.
Yep.
You can't, bro. I don't think I've seen
but
this
podcast P is off the podcast so we can focus on the playoff run.
Please, podcast P, focus on the playoff run.
You remember when Cam talked? Was it Pat Bev when he was like, "Hey, it's okay, my boy. You average 6 points per game in the playoffs. Go get you some." That's what it's P. It's okay, bro. Your team's not making the playoffs. Go podcast, my boy.
Okay. Go podcast, bro. Like, oh my god, when I saw that dog, I ain't gonna lie to you. I literally was just like, bro, you got more podcast episodes than you got jump shots this season. Yeah, I mean, you got 3-pointers made this season. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, all of a sudden you lock in. And see, that's my problem. You gonna lock in now with what, a month of basketball left? Now's the time to lock in. Not when the season started. Not when they paid you all that money to come play for the team. If
Why
I'm
lock in then?
Bro, if I'm a Philly fan, I'm on his heels I'm booing him every game.
There's no point in you want to lock in now. I mean, to his credit, he had probably one of his best games of the season the day after he said he wasn't going to podcast anymore. But it doesn't matter. Your team's not going nowhere. They're not trying to go nowhere. Their pick is top 6 protected. And you know what? Maybe Daryl Morey said, "Go ahead, P, lock in. You're actually going to increase our chances to keep our picks. So go ahead and lock in."
That's why the Bulls are keeping Billy Donovan.
How much gum you need, Billy?
We'll get you whatever you need there, Billy. Just keep that up. Keep that up. Oh man, yeah, embrace it, bro. It's gonna be. I don't see how they miss.
Bro, the only way they could miss is like, I don't even know, bro. Because I don't think they're like the 76ers lost 9 games in a row. The Brooklyners, I don't know if you've watched any of their last couple games. I can't blame you if you haven't. But if you look, their closing lineup is all G Leaguers. They literally look at every NBA player they have on their roster like, don't even worry about the fourth quarter. We thank you for tuning in to work. It's basically the part of, you can go ahead and clock out early for me.
Yeah. So, it's bad, bro. It's bad. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro. And as long as Billy Donovan's coaching your team, we're gonna always play to win every game. And it is what it is, man. Any last thoughts, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Nah, let's get up out of here, bro.
Hey, you guys can follow us at Locked On Bulls. You can follow Pat at Pat the Designer. You can follow me at CEO Hayes. Pat will be back tonight after the game. I will not be available after the game today. I got some business to take care of, man. Y'all make sure y'all follow us at Locked On Bulls, and we'll holler at y'all tonight. Peace, y'all.
Peace.